Many years ago, I heard a story of a little boy named Shia. As a person with disability, myself, someone lucky enough to be blessed by the kindness of strangers, there were tears in my eyes. The story was beautiful, unforgettable. But as time passed, people began to ask a hard question. What happened to Shia after that remarkable day? Because here is the truth. The applause doesn't last. The world doesn't always stop to cheer. Probably the next morning, Shia woke up just the same. He still struggled to tie his shoes. He still forgot his homework. He still felt like the world racing past. The crowd was waiting. No teammates were ready to lift him up. But before I go on, let me share the story for those who haven't heard it. Where is God's perfection? That question was asked one night at the fundraising dinner in Brooklyn, New York. The school was called Chush, a place for children with learning disability. Some students stayed there for years. A few, if they were lucky, moved on to regular schools. That night, a father stood up and thanked the teachers and the staff. He spoke calmly at first. Then his voice broke. Everything God does is perfect, he said. So where is the perfection in my son Shia? The room went quiet. Shia couldn't remember the fact the way other children did. Numbers slipped away, instruction had to be repeated. He tried hard, but the world never seemed to slow down enough for him. The father continued. One afternoon, Shia and I were walking past the park. Some neighborhood boys were playing baseball. Shia stopped and watched. Then he looked up and asked, "Do you think they'll let me play?" Most kids would have said no. Shia wasn't athletic. He didn't know the rules. He'd never played a real game. But I also knew if they let him in, even for just one moment, it would mean more than winning ever. I went over and I asked the boys. The boy in charge hesitated, looked around, then said, "Well, we're losing by 6 runs. It's the 8th inning. I guess he can be on our team. We'll let him bat in the 9th." Shia's face lit up. They handed him a glove and sent him to the center field. By the bottom of the 9th, something unexpected happened. Shia's team started scoring. One run, another. Now the bases were loaded. 2 outs, and Shia was due up. Everyone knew letting Shia bat meant giving up their chance to win. Shia walked to the plate. The pitcher tossed the ball gently. Shia swung and missed. Then one of his teammates walked out of the dog, stood beside him, and placed his hand over Shia's hand on the bat. The pitcher stepped closer and tossed the ball again. Together they swung. The ball rolled slowly towards the pitcher. He picked it up. He couldn't have thrown to the first and ended the game. Instead, he threw the ball high, far over his baseman's head. "Run, Shia, run!" Shia ran first. The right fielder got the ball. He could have thrown the second. Instead, he threw it high and wide. "Run to the second, Shia!" Shia ran. Now, everyone, both teams, were shouting, "Run to the third! Run home!" Shia ran home. 18 boys lifted him into their shoulders. For that moment, he was the hero. The father stopped speaking, with tears in his eyes. He said quietly, "That's where God's perfection was that day." Some people might say, "So what? The game ended. The crowd went home. Shia back to his normal difficult life." What good did that moment actually do? Now, hear me out. As someone who received grace, real uninvited compassion, I promise you, moments like these don't vanish. They don't fade. They carve themselves inside you. They become a compass, a doubt, a beautiful one that you carry forward. You feel you owe it to those who showed up mercy, not wasted their compassion. You fight not just for yourself, but to prove they didn't waste their hope on you. When dark moments come, and they do, I remember the times when people went out of their way for me, just to show that I mattered. Those memories are a guardrail on the stairs, a light in the tunnel. That act of kindness isn't erased by the return of difficulty. It becomes the very thing that gets you through it. I adore God, because even though we live in a physical world, a world where the strong survive, where nature is brutal, we, along among creatures, can choose mercy. We can choose to lift someone up for no reason except that we can. That's why it mattered. That's why it still matters. Acts of kindness, even fleeting ones, don't just change a single afternoon. They plant something quiet, something powerful that endures long after the applause has faded. They remind us what's possible, that compassion is never wasted, that mercy once given keeps working in the lives it touched. Sometimes as hope, sometimes as courage, sometimes the quiet strength to keep going. So maybe the real answer of what happened to Shia isn't whether he became a different person overnight. Is that for the rest of his life he carried that memory that for one moment others choose to see his work, not because they had to, but because they could. And in every life touched by compassion, that where God's perfection lives on, not in grand victories, not in the choice to lift someone up, just because you can. That's the kind of moment that makes the world better. If you're still here, thank you. There are many more stories like this, and maybe some of them will help you to see your own life differently.